What's good everybody, it's your boy Jason4 here, and today, I know I could easily go on a tangent and talk about the things I like about this series and what I think it did right, but you know what, I feel like I always be on a positive note, so why don't I try to go a little bit negative here and talk about the things I don't like or dislike about Danganronpa and what it did. So the first thing I'm gonna have to straight up say and dislike, in that something that we absolutely really do need, is that we need a female protagonist. We really do. And I'm not even talking about like, oh yeah, so we can make gen type material of. No, like we actually could use an actual female protagonist, because we have just straight up a lot of male protagonists. We only have Komaru, but technically, since that's a spin-off game, I'm not really going to count that, which is a bit unfair, but it's not in the mainline type of Danganronpa games that you would normally play, so that I'm not going to count Komaru, even though she is one in her own rights. But we need like a solid mainline Danganronpa female protagonist. Don't bait me like you did Kaede. Do not bait me like that, because that was some bull, and you know that was some cap. So don't do that no more. We ain't talking about that. We need, like, because there's been potential candidates for a female protagonist for each game. Actually, you had Kaede in V3, didn't want to use her. Then you had Mahiru possibly in Dangan 2. You know, you actually had two choices with Shiaku or Mahiru. So, but I would think Mahiru would be the better choice. If Danganronpa 4 ever comes out, definitely there needs to be a female protagonist. Don't need to be another male protagonist. We had a lot of those. I mean, I understand why they might have one, because of the whole free time event, and it'd be kind of, I guess, a lot of people wouldn't be used to that if it did have like a female protagonist. But at the same time, we could really use one. The next thing on our to-do list is the class trials. I swear it's a fuck. Sometimes I just don't care. Like, and we already know the dreaded third class trials in each game. Like that is also added to it, because Dangan 1, I had the Mondo trial. Did not give a damn about that. Yeah, I know a lot of people kind of did. I don't. So suck it. Then there was also the Celeste trial, which also, can I say, the two Dangan trials that, you know, I didn't care for, got rid of the two characters I actually did care about. Because yes, while Celeste is high class and high maintenance, I would get in that ass if I could gamble for that. Alright, so that's number one. Then Chihiro, number two, was actually a smart guy, was actually someone I actually genuinely liked in the game. But then, no, because I'm not man enough to handle this, yeah, and Mondo just killed Chihiro, which also makes me very upset. So, you know, that's some BS as well. Then you go to Dangan 2. You had, I think you had 3 trials in Dangan 2 that I just didn't like. Mahiru trial, which you got rid of Mahiru for some dumbass reason, and then you got rid of Peko for another dumbass reason, because I like both of those two. And then you had the whole Makan trial, which, you know, a lot of people didn't like either, which I had to agree, but I kind of low-key did for a weird reason. I don't know why, but it did get rid of 3 people that, while one of them I don't really care for more than the other two, it still kind of sucked. Then you had the Gundam trial. I'll be completely honest, I did not like the Gundam trial. I'll be completely honest with you. Yeah, I said it. While it had a good while each trial had a good moments in it, I just didn't care for that Gundam one. You had Correcchio's trial, which was some nonsense in itself, because, you know, it was weird. Didn't need that one. That was the weirdest trial probably in all of Danganronpa. Then you had Ryoma get yeeted by the maid. I just didn't care. Obviously, you had the first trial where you killed Kaede. You just took my bitch from me. You took her away from me. How am I supposed to feel about this? You took my woman away. How? So, of course, there's plenty of trials in these games that maybe someone don't like as their favorite, but there is a ton of trials in these games. I'm just like, okay, I really wish there was a trial that I really wish there was a game where I could genuinely just hate one trial and then everything else be fine, because there hasn't been a single game that's like that so far. So if Danganronpa 4 comes out, or even be announced as a thing, please give me a game that, make the game have some good trials. and some likable character. And speaking of likable characters, there's not that many. Like, I have a few set in which you can probably tell because I like a few characters, mainly because you see their sprites all the time in these videos. So definitely those would be more so my few favorite characters. And while I may not use every sprite that I could use, that just goes to show that I don't really care for their character or just don't like that person, you know? Like, I may be able to relate to some of them, I may be able to relate to those people, but then at the same time, I just don't care about using their sprites like that. With me, I feel like there's like a few Danganronpa characters I'm just like, you know what, I'm okay with, but then there's other characters I'm just like, I have no personal wants to actually learn more about the characters, especially when they try to make themselves so unlikable at times, like Tenko and Anji. Well, I wouldn't say Anji, but she's kind of weird. But Tenko most definitely, I would have to say, is one of them that just make themselves very unlikable. And yeah, I know the whole reason, but it just still comes off as you are very unlikable as a person. Then you have the fake Orochimaru from V3. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Then you also had, you know, a lot of other. You had Gundam, which I just didn't care for, honestly. His voice actor is cool. His voice actor is a G, but the character I couldn't care for, honestly. Lastly, I would have to go out of my way to say there's just wasted character potential and material here, and that's with a lot of characters. This will probably be my last one. Mainly because, like, let's take someone like Mahiru. Mahiru is a photographer, and yeah, while in the game she said she can only really capture the smiles of other people, which that's fine, but imagine if we use her camera as a legit mechanic in the game, and just see what could potentially happen with that. Like, imagine if she caught some shady type of stuff happening. You'd be like, oh snap, Mahiru, you got that? You are a G, let me eat you out real quick. Like, I feel like that would have been really cool if we utilized her camera in some shape or form. But no, we don't get to utilize that, even though that would have been really, really smart. Again, Chihiro, another person that I feel like is very underutilized and really been robbed of his shine. Really, it's really kind of, you know, crappy. So really wish they utilized Chihiro a little bit better, especially with how much he has done, and especially with how much builds with his smart technology knowledge. I don't understand how Chihiro is this damn smart and he figured out a lot of stuff to do. Then you also had V3 with Kaede. You killed my woman off early, and then you didn't give her any type of, you know, potential to do anything. It was really, really cruddy, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I really wish you gave Kaede something. Which makes me think about the video with the whole Kaede versus Chiaki argument. Because, yeah, Chiaki, we got to learn more. We got to experience more with Chiaki. Kaede, she was only there the one time. That's it. We didn't really see much of her, and it's unfortunate as all hell. So, definitely, Dangan do have some very underutilized characters, even when it comes to their main cast of characters. And let's not even think about Junko and Mukuro. You know, Junko and Mukuro sitting in the tree. Killing. That is not great. So yeah, definitely I could totally think that you could have gave Mukuro some shine. Give her some sprites, gosh dang it, because she could absolutely deserve something. The fandom wants some sprites of her. Unfortunately, it's only the Junko version of her. We don't want that. We want to see plain ass Mukuro. We want to see plain ass, fat ass Mukuro. You know, super thick Mukuro. We don't want to see plain old Junko Mukuro. We don't want that all the time. And not to mention with Junko herself, yeah, while she's the big bad mastermind at every end of the game, I really feel like they should utilize the crap out of more of what she does. Like I said in the Danganronpa 4 plot video, when it comes to maybe getting rid of talents, why don't you just throw her in the killing game just so she can stop whatever nonsense is going on with that video, with the plot of that video I was talking about. Basically, someone came in with a talent to erase all talents, and Junko gets worried about that, so she insert herself into that type of into the game. So I would like to see that, or just make her a playable character, the main playable character in the next game. That will be also fine. but give us something to better utilize these characters, because sometimes it gets a bit frustrating. And with that, I come to a close because I am running out of air. So that is all of what I want to talk about with this one, and it's not even covering a lot of stuff, honestly. Just covering like my big major stuff, but not really everything I want to talk about when it comes to disliking this series. But just because I said some of these dislikes and said some of these things does not necessarily mean I hate the game or hate what it is. I absolutely love Dangan. I wouldn't have based my entire channel with that if I hated it. So definitely do think you still should, if you haven't played it, go play the games. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and like to donate to the channel. Cash App is Patreon. Say Patreon, please. Patreon is available as well. And honestly, when it comes to all the stuff I dislike, we haven't even talked about the V3 ending, so that's another thing. But I'll say that for another time. But anyway, until then, this is your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.
Baby, say my name as if you got a fucking clue. Always caught up in the moment, not condoning what I do. I've been messing with my chemistry to find the better me, putting thoughts up on the page in hopes that you could get to me. Been this way since legit, my brain couldn't quit. Running from my issues, roll the pain in a spliff, fade away every hit. Nobody needed me, too afraid to commit.